Hello, guys. How are you? This is Teacher Oscar. I hope everything was okay with you on this vacation time. So today we're going to talk about how to make questions with do, the auxiliary verbs do and does. To make questions with these auxiliary verbs in the simple present tense, we usually use, as I told you, the auxiliary verbs do or does at the beginning of the question before the subject. We never say, we say, yes, you speak Arabic. But if we want to make that sentence affirmative, does he speak Arabic? Why does? Because remember that we have pronouns he, she, and it that are the third person, and we add the es at the beginning to make the affirmative sentence a question. This is a notice or a recommendation that the letter S at the end of the verb in the affirmative sentence is used because it's in third person and it disappears in the question. It says he, as in affirmative, he speaks Arabic. He speaks Arabic. Does he? We don't say, does he speaks Arabic? No, because the auxiliary verb does is taking the part of the S of speaks. So we don't use do or does in the questions that have the verb to be or modal verbs like can, could, might, must. So do or does in this question, in some questions. Do you like my shirt? Does he drive to work? Does she like hamburgers? Where do you live? Where do you live? What do you do for a living? So what things or how do you do or what do you do for a living? It means what things do you do to survive? Do you work or do you study? So in questions in past, we use the auxiliary verb at the beginning of the question or before the main subject. Did is used with regular and irregular verbs in English. So some exceptions are the modal verbs like can, could, might, may, should, or the verb to be. Do and does are in the present tense, and did is in the past tense. So do they live in Spain? Did. So now they are living in Spain. Do they live in Spain? Did they live in Spain 5 years ago? So the main verb living in the example is in the base form or infinitive. Later on, we're going to talk about the difference between infinitive and gerund. So the auxiliary verb, or the auxiliary in this case, sorry, did shows that the question is in the past tense. So the only difference between the question or a question in the present tense and a question in the past tense is the change of the auxiliary verb. Remember, do or does in present and did in past. Did you visit a museum while you were there? So did you visit the museum in while means in the time you were there? Did the bus arrive late? Yes, the bus arrived late. Did she like the surprise? Yes, she liked it. Why did you say that? Other examples are I do exercise in affirmative. I did my homework. Hey, Carlos, if you want to make it question, so your pronoun that is the subject, you need to substitute it to change it for the did. So I did my homework? Did I do my homework? I have done many things. Have I done many things? I do exercise. Do I do exercise? He does exercise. Does he exercises? Does he, sorry, exercise? Remember that mistake wasn't purpose. Does he exercise? Did he do? In this case, do is the verb of creating. Did he do his homework? He has done many things. Many has he done or did he do many things? Also, we can use don't and doesn't when there are negative sentences. So both are used in negative, as I told you, except with the verb to be, and modal verbs might, may, can, should, etc. So you speak Spanish? No, you don't speak Spanish. So you will see that when we add done between the subject and the verb, so we use it with I, you, we, or there. He speaks Spanish. No, he doesn't speak Spanish. When is he, she, or it, we add doesn't. Why doesn't? Because remember, is he, she, or it are third person between the subject and the verb to make a negative sentence. The letter S at the end of the verb in the affirmative sentence, we substituted. He speaks Spanish. So we're going to eliminate the S and we're going to say he doesn't speak Spanish. So example of sentence using don't and doesn't. I don't like junk food. So junk food are like hamburgers, hot dogs, all that. We don't need a dictionary. He doesn't want to get out of bed. It doesn't rain in the desert. So if we want to use completely negative, they didn't do this for regular and irregular verbs. So they don't in present live in Japan. They didn't live in Japan. So remember that the only difference between a negative sentence in the present tense and, sorry, the only difference between, yes, a negative sentence in the present tense and a negative sentence in the past is that we change the auxiliary. So I didn't want to go to the park. He didn't study for the math exam. We didn't have time to finish the report and they didn't like that movie. So I'll see you soon, guys. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.